Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the MD Investor Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Butler. So, welcome. Now, today I want to talk about who is ready to make money. So, let's get into this episode and let's talk about the fact that in order to make money, you got to be prepared. So, let's dive in. All right. So last episode, we talked about money being frustrating and being able to control and how to move and understand money. Now we're talking about how to make it. In this case, I want to talk about how to make it in times where money starts to get tight. And that I'm talking about is like recessions and upcoming issues with recessions. So as of now, there's been a lot of talk about there's going to be a current recession. So you guys have heard that a recession is coming, a recession is coming, a recession is coming. Basis points and interest points have been moving up. So if you don't understand how this works, then let me just break it down on a very simple level. The Feds, they do a Fed rate basis, and they do that by basis points. So when they're talking about basis points, they're talking about how much interest should rise over the course of the year or so. In this case, they want to maximize the amount of basis points. They want to move it up to about 25 basis points, which means that we'd actually move into what's called stagflation. So inflation is the silent killer of money, and it has been for a very long time, because you have to think about what something cost when you were a kid, what something cost your parents when they were kids, and what something costs you now. So let's do a very simple example. Let's talk about the price of eggs. Price of eggs in 1943 was 23 cents. So after a few years, the price of eggs continued to rise and rise and rise because the cost of expenses, the cost of goods, the cost of transportation, all of those things have changed. And because of that, now if you go to the store to go buy eggs, of course they don't cost 23 cents or 50 cents or 60 cents or $2. Now eggs are like $5. So if you go and buy eggs, and of course if you do with all the marketing stuff and they go, okay, I need organic brown eggs, and I only need brown eggs from Farmer John that come on every other Tuesday from hens that are organically fed chicken feed that only comes from whatever. You see what I'm saying? It's like there's a thing behind everything to where stuff becomes more and more expensive. I remember when I was in high school, gas used to cost a certain amount of money. Gas was only like $1.60 or something like that when I was in high school, and it was a struggle then. But now as an adult, gas is like $5, it went as high as $9 a gallon if you live in LA. So in this case, that is how inflation works. Now, because the government prints money and money has no backing to it, there's always going to be an issue to where we have to adjust for the fact that stuff is missing. So in this case, COVID sped up the next recession. So recessions happen in cycles. And when a recession happens, this is when it's time to make money. So you have to be prepared. But being prepared is difficult because things are getting more expensive, things become tighter, but the people who are ready make their money. So if you ever heard the phrase millionaires are made in recessions, it's very true. And the reason that happens is because while people are terrified, while people are losing their positions, people are losing their houses, people are losing their jobs, which is happening at an alarming rate even now, think about the fact that all of those things means that stuff is up for sale. And when I say stuff, you have to think about it as a business. If a business normally costs you a certain amount to purchase it and now it's going on sale, having money prepared and ready is what makes that investment super sound. So this is where we start getting to what we call the load the boat scenarios. So for example, if you love Jordans, let's say you love Jordans with all your heart. Let's say you're a sneakerhead. Some people love sneakers, or some people love cars or purses, whatever it may be. If a pair of Jordans normally costs you $150, and now imagine your very favorite pair of Jordans now costs $40, and you know that you can normally sell those Jordans for $300, $400, or whatever it may be, so that's your return on your investment. Now imagine you were getting them for $40 a pair. You would load the boat because one pair normally costs you $150 and you sell it for $400. But now if you're able to get 5 or 6 pair of Jordans for the same price that it normally would cost you to get 2 pair, you would buy as much as you could, or much as you can, and much as you could, whatever it is. That's the point of a recession. In a recession, rents go up, food costs goes up, everything goes up. But what doesn't go up is the fact that you need to be able to price out the difference of purchasing a business. If stocks are dropping to all-time lows, that means you are buying a business that is sustainable. However, people are afraid. So you're getting the business at a discount. Now, you still have to do your due diligence when you're buying these stocks. So, for example, if you have a company that's not going anywhere, Amazon, let's say Amazon, for example, Amazon is a key component of how our society works because people are lazy. People love convenience more than anything else in the world. Convenience is key and convenience is a factor. So, if everything is convenient, where do I usually put this mic? Is it here? I don't know. I'm just going to move the mic a little bit because it might look different on the screen, whatever. So if the convenience is key for people, people don't want to lose convenience. People don't want to go backwards on convenience, okay? So let's talk about that. So if a recession happens, are things that make life more convenient going to stay or they're going to go away? Like you're not going to want to go do all your shopping manually. For example, COVID. COVID happened, people were losing jobs, people didn't have any money, but Amazon was at an all-time high. Why? Because Amazon was doing what people wanted to do, right? They didn't want to go to the store. They were afraid of going out and getting sick. So in this case, Amazon was the prime market for getting things delivered. So Amazon skyrocketed. And because of that, other people have adopted that same business model. So you had Amazon that was already doing deliveries. And then you got Amazon Prime, which is like, yeah, we could deliver it in 2 days. Then they're like, we could deliver it in a few hours if you're near one of our hubs because we'll just store stuff, have it on deck for the majority of things that people already order. So if people are ordering the same stuff over and over and over again, now it's just going to be here. And if it's going to be here, now you can get it even faster. And guess who already had that kind of system in place but never actually implemented it on the same level? That would be Walmart. Walmart would be like a very close competitor to how Amazon works. So in that case, Walmart has distribution centers all over the place, and there's physical stores all over the place. So when Walmart did Walmart Plus, where they're like actually able to compete and put stuff out in the same idea, which is like, okay, you can do Walmart same day delivery, or you can do Target same day delivery. The reason that these things work is because it's very convenient. So these businesses aren't going to go anywhere. So if a recession occurs, people are going to fall back away from luxury and more towards staples. So before the other day, we talked about how Walmart was getting more and more business. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. So imagine we have a major recession. If a major recession occurs and the price stock of Walmart drops by 50% or 60%, now you're getting something that you love or use already. You might not even love Walmart. Maybe you like Target and Target pays dividends. Now it's going to be a super recession or a recession that happens to where you get a super discount. And now you're buying this business as a discount. You don't have to do anything but wait. You buy it in bulk, you load the boat, you wait. And then as the prices start to get back to normal, then they'll normalize. You already had a good entry. Because I say this over and over again. When you're investing, money is not made when you sell. Money is made when you buy. If you buy at a good position, you will always make money. If a stock costs you 50 cents and it drops down to 45 cents, you didn't lose money because you sold it at 45 cents. You lost money because you bought it at 50. If the stock is at 20 cents and it goes up to $1, you didn't make money because you bought it at $1.05 or $1 itself, because then you're just even. You made money because you bought it at 20 cents. You always make money on the entry. That is how the market works. The reason a lot of people in the housing market got destroyed in 2008 was because banks were hyperinflating a lot of things, had no backing to stuff, and they were giving people houses at very high entry points without the ability or means for them to cover that, which is why the housing market ended up dropping, because people didn't have the funds to cover the drop. So if you bought a house in 2008 and the house was $300,000, but the value of the home dropped to $180,000, you got cut in half. And now you're upside down in a mortgage that you probably couldn't afford. You still owe the bank $300,000 for a home that only has half the value of it. So you have a reverse equity on your home. And a lot of people ended up getting wiped out because of that. Now imagine this. Imagine the opposite. Imagine you have a house that went down from $300,000 to $180,000 and you buy the property. And you buy that property, the next property, the next property, and the value goes back up to $300,000. You own the property, you depreciate it with your taxes and with the government, and then now it's making you money. So rents are higher in a recession. Everything is higher in a recession. Rents don't go down, they only go up. Think about Brooklyn, New York, and the average price in Manhattan of rent. The average price in Manhattan right now for like a studio apartment is about $5,000 a month, which is absurdly high, and which means that you have to make more in order to stay in these locations. And the people who can't stay in, they're going to what? They're going to leave. And now let's say you have an apartment complex and the rent's up to $5,000 and you came in on that property high. Let's say you paid $5 million for the property, it was hyperinflated. Now the value of that property drops to $2.5 million. Now, guess what? You have to sell that property because you're upside down. But if I come in and purchase that property during a recession because everybody moved out, all your tenants are gone, or whatever it may be, and now you're looking for the ability to cover the mortgage and you can't keep up with that mortgage, that means you're going to lose your property. You're going to lose it regardless. But here's the difference. As an investor, I will look for these purchases at a very, very strong discount. I want to make as much as humanly possible by being able to have a precise entry point. And I can only have a precise entry point if I know what the market is doing. So if a recession is coming up, guess what happens when a recession happens? You stack cash. You stack as much cash as humanly possible. You have it, whether it's in your savings, whether it's in an account, whatever it is, you stack money. You stack and you stack and you stack. So it doesn't matter what you're investing in. If it's cryptocurrency and your favorite cryptocurrency was at $12,000 2 months ago or 4 months ago, and now it's down to 2,000, you were losing money and you bailed and you jumped ship. However, when it went down to 2,000, that's when I started stacking. When it went down from, hey, this coin used to be $1, now it's, the CRO is down to 12 cents. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stack it. Or if you're an ADA coin and it was at, 88 cents or almost $1 and now it's down to 13 cents, then I'm just going to stack it. Why? Because something that used to cost me $300 to buy 300 coins would now be like $300 to buy 3,000 coins. You see what I'm saying? It's like now I'm getting it at a very steep discount. I don't have to do anything with it. I just buy it and let it ride. That's pretty much it. So when there's a recession, when there's a dip in the market, when there's a strong drop in either the housing market, the real estate market, the trucking industry, whatever the industry is, price of goods are starting to go up, but the ability for people to access them goes down drastically, which means that the average person who's not prepared to invest will not be able to afford to invest. So in this case, if you were the average person and you're like, oh man, the last housing crash was something that wiped me out, that means you're not being prepared for the next movement. And if you want to become a wealthy person, if you want to become a millionaire, if you want to be able to buy back your time, what you have to do is prepare for the next step. And if you're getting prepared for the next step, then you can do whatever you want because it's all about when you're getting ready. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be able to be ready. And when you're ready, that's when you get to build wealth. You can't build wealth by not being ready. And I really hope that makes sense to everybody because it's really true. Let me give you a good example. Okay, so when I was in high school, I used to sell candy and I used to sell soda and stuff like that. And it was very simple to do. It wasn't hard. I'd just go to the supermarket beforehand. I would stack up on soda and I would stack up on a lot of things. Because again, I went to high school in California. So there was this healthcare initiative that passed to where it's like all vending machines and stuff like that no longer sold candy. They were like only water. So it was like water and Gatorade only was what was allowed. But kids love snacks. They have money. They're bringing money from their parents and stuff like that. So this was a prime opportunity. Like there was no supply there. And at this point in time, it's pretty much a recession in terms of being able to get the sweets and the snacks that you like. So now what I did was I would go to school, I'd have my backpack, I would load up my backpack with stuff that I bought for a very good price. So if a case of soda was, I don't know, $5 for an entire case of 12 soda, and usually they would sell for 50 cents at the school, I'm not going to sell it for 50 cents because that's only like $1 margin, and I'm not really looking to do all this work to make $1. In this case, I would sell the sodas for $1 each, even if it was a can of soda, because you couldn't get it. Unless I didn't like you, then it was like $2. But in this case, for the most part, I didn't have that issue. So that's where I had an entry point and a recession point to where I was now making money in school. And I didn't have to really do a lot to make the money. I went to the school just a little bit earlier. All it took was an extra 10 minutes in the morning. Bought stuff that I needed from the store, which was across the street, like a block away from the school. And then I just walked to the school with all this stuff in my backpack. When it came time for lunch, when people wanted to buy stuff, they already knew that I had what they were looking for. And they could put requests in, made it easier. So if a lot of people were like, hey, I want to buy Sprite, or I want to buy Coke, or I want to buy Fanta, or whatever their vice was, or they want Skittles or Snickers, then I can just go buy it in bulk and then sell it at the school. And over time, I was making plenty of money doing this. It was very easy, right? It didn't take a lot to do that. And that's the same idea with the recession, except now I'm not a kid anymore and we're buying bigger things. So instead of going and buying a house and that house is going to cost me $1 million to purchase, now I get to buy the house in bulk. So a house that should cost me $1 million is costing me $300,000. An apartment complex that should cost me $400,000, $500,000 or $5 million is now going to only cost me $2 million. You see what I'm saying? It's like now I'm buying bigger things in bulk. There's still candy bars. It still doesn't matter what it is. I still get to buy it in bulk. And because I'm buying it in bulk, I'm going to make more money. And I can do that the same way. So whether it's in stocks, whether it's in options, whether it's in e-commerce, the fact that you can do things in bulk will make up for the difference. And everything in the world, everything in e-commerce, everything in business has the exact same process, and they all have cycles. So this is why people tell you to diversify. They don't tell you to diversify because diversification is the best thing on the planet. They tell you to diversify because everything has a cycle, but they're different cycles. So the real estate market has its booms and its its peaks and its valleys. The stock market has its peaks and its valleys. The goal of diversification is to make sure that everything isn't peaking at the same time and everything isn't valleying at the same time. So if I'm in stocks, if stocks are skyrocketing but real estate is down, the stocks are covering my real estate. So it's not a total loss. I'm not losing anything. And vice versa. If the real estate market is going, bottoms up or whatever it may be, then in this case, if the stocks are doing great, the stocks are going to cover that. And, vice versa with everything else. If transportation, if inflation is making the gas prices so high that I can't keep up with the trucks, then in this case, the stocks are making up for the difference, or the housing is making up for the difference. So there's multiple streams. And because you have multiple streams, one stream is covering another stream or investing into another stream. So if the stocks are doing great, in this case, if the stocks are doing great, and let's say the housing market is crashing, in this case, the money that I'm making from the stocks, I will pull that money, buy more property because I'm buying the property at a huge discount. And vice versa. If real estate is doing great, if I'm flipping properties or I'm getting a very good cash flow on something, or if I'm rehabbing or burning a property, whatever it may be, if that property is doing great, once I sell and flip that property and I'm getting a lump sum of money, maybe I get $50,000, $100,000 at a time, I will just now put that bulk money into the stocks. Why? Because the stocks are down. So now I'm doing this and then I'm using the peak of the stock market, I'm using the peak of the real estate market to cover the valley of the stock market. And that valley is now all right, I have no idea why that happens. So for some reason, at exactly 18 minutes when I'm recording, and I usually record for 20 minutes, but for 18 minutes, my recording system always just shuts down. No clue why it happens. I've tried to work on that multiple times, but hey, it is what it is. So we work with what we got. I'll figure it out one day. So now what I was talking about was the peaks and the valleys. So in this case, if the real estate market is peaking up and it's covering for the valleys of the stock market, then I can use that money during the recession of that cycle to cover everything else. So that way I remain in a recession-proof type of deal, because you want to have kind of like an all-weather track or all-weather system to where you cover everything, if that makes sense. So I'm looking to cover my bases at all times to where I don't have to rely on having a job or having something else to physically make up for it. So if things get more expensive, most of the time you have to work more, or you have to cover more, or you have to create more. But in this case, if your system is working for you, then you don't have to worry about a down market in any point in time. Why? Because you're going to be covered by making sure you have what you need in every cycle. So if you budget appropriately, if you're sitting in cash during a recession and then you're able to buy in bulk, then you're covering that difference and you're able to make up the difference to where you can truly build wealth. So if you want to make money during a recession. and we have an upcoming recession. So if that's the case, if we notice that the feds are going to continue to rake the interest rate up to fight off inflation, in order to beat inflation, you have to raise interest rates, right? That's the only way to do it because feds print money. And if they're printing money, there's nothing to stop them from printing more. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by oil. It's not backed by anything. It's just paper. So there's no reason to save paper if they're always going to just make more paper. So it's whatever. You want to use it to buy an investment, and that investment is going to make up the difference. It's always going to flow, in your favor. Anyway, I've ranted long enough. I'm pretty sure that's our time. We hit about 20 minutes, and this is what I'm trying to do. So that way you guys have a reason to listen while you're doing your commute, whether you're in a train in New York or you're driving in LA traffic. Doesn't matter. I want you guys to have what you need to build and get to a better place, because it is difficult to understand finances if you don't know where to start. They don't teach it in school. You need help learning how to do it. I'm always here to help. So you can always head over to the mdinvestor.com. I'm always here to help you guys build. Again, that's the mdinvestor.com. Once you go to the website, we have a ton of free things for you guys. We also have classes, we have courses. You can always book a consultation if you need more one-on-one help. If you want to understand the markets better, if you want to understand how to trade, if you want to understand how to invest, and you're looking to build and grow from there, then I'm here to help you guys. Because one is, I wish somebody taught me this stuff in advance. If I would have known sooner, I probably might have not. I still would have done medicine, I think, because I like helping people. But I would have taken a different route in terms of investing straight from the gate. Anyway, I'm hoping I can help you guys. I always wish you guys the best and the same stuff: health, wealth, and happiness. I will see you guys in the next podcast. Take it easy. Bye.